My name is John Heinrich, and I'm the commander of the Miamisburg American Legion Post 165. Today we come together to honor and recognize American servicemen, past and present. Today is a day to honor all of the men and women who served in the U.S. military. It is about the approximate 19 million U.S. veterans who are still with us today and the millions who have preceded them since the American Revolution. This day of celebration and reflection originated from the signing of the amnesty, a temporary cessation of hostility on Monday, November the 11th, 1918, at 11 a.m., when the fighting ceased between the Allied nations and Germany, effectively ending World War I. A year later, President Woodrow Wilson proclaimed November 11th, 1919, as the first commemoration of Armistice Day, a day President Wilson said, filled with solemn pride in the heroism of those who died in the country's service and with gratitude for the victory. The original concept of the celebration was for a day observation with parades and public meetings and a brief suspension of business beginning at 11 a.m. The actual legal federal holiday was approved by Congress in 1938. It wasn't until 1954, following World War II and the Korean War, that Congress replaced Armistice with Veterans, amending the original act to commemorate November 11th, a day in America when veterans and all wars are honored. Whether you wear the uniform today or wore it decades ago, you, the veteran, represents the fundamental truth. It is not powerful that the weapons of our military, the greatest in the world, the truth strength of our military is the spirit and the skill of our men and women who have worn and now wear the uniform of our nation's military. At this time, we will now have the posting of the colors by the Sons of the American Revolution. Everybody, please rise.
Forward, march.
We will now have the invocation by our post chaplain.
Good morning. Good morning. On Veterans Day, we honor all who've answered to a service call. Soldiers young and soldiers old fought for freedom, brave and bold. Some have lived while others died, and all of them deserve our pride. We're proud of all soldiers who kept thinking of red, white, and blue. They fought for us and all our rights. They fought through many days and nights. And though we may not know each name, we thank our veterans just the same. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, who sees all of the hurt, comfort the hearts of those who have lost loved ones in the military. It might seem to us unfair, but you are the God who ordained our days. Let us remember those families who are still grieving today. Remind them of your love for them. Their loss provides for a safe place to live and worship you. Keep those families close to your heart today. Comfort them and let them know we do not forget the loved ones whose sacrifice we serve. Amen.
Well, you may be seated. I have to stand up here for the whole time. I thought maybe you all would do the same too. We will now have the band play the Armed Forces Medley. If you happen to hear your particular branch of service and would like to stand during that portion, please feel free to do so. Once again, I have the distinct pleasure of introducing our keynote speaker, who is proud to call Miamisburg her hometown. She is a graduate of Miamisburg High School and have attended several colleges to become a successful real estate broker here in Miamisburg. Our speaker has the unique title to be the First Lady Mayor of the city of Miamisburg. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our Veterans Day speaker, Mayor Michelle Collins.
Thank you all for being here. I appreciate you coming out on this soggy Veterans Day, but it's not going to dampen our spirits at all. I do want to thank our fellow elected officials that are in the room, Councilman Ryan Colvin. I see Councilman Mike McCabe back there. Is John Stalder here? I haven't seen him. Councilman Tom Nicholas, I see him now. Vice Mayor Jeff Nestor couldn't be here with us, and I ask that everyone hold Jeff's family in your prayers. It is my honor to deliver to you this recommended Veterans Day speech from the national headquarters of the American Legion. The service of Americans' veterans never truly ends. Even when they hang up their military uniforms for the last time, many still choose to protect us. Noah Chavez was one of those. After serving 5 years as a military police officer in the U.S. Army's 591st MP Company, Noah returned to his home state and graduated from the Indiana Law Enforcement Academy in May 2022. As he drove past a restaurant last summer in Elwood, Indiana, he noticed an artist painting a large American flag mural covering the exterior of a building. Noah exited his police car and complimented the painter for his patriotic rendering. The two briefly conversed. The artist, Theodore Winters, thanked Noah for his military service, and they both went about their day. A few hours later, Noah was tragically killed in the line of duty when a motorist allegedly shot him during a traffic stop. Ending a watch for Noah Chavez was July 31st, 2022. He was only 24. After hearing the news about Noah, Theodore immediately recalled their conversation and decided the mural would be dedicated to this fallen hero and the veteran who gave everything not only to his country, but now his community. Noah Chavez was the embodiment of service and sacrifice. He is not alone. The U.S. Justice Department estimates that 25% of law enforcement officers have a military background of some kind. Bravery and dedication to community are always common among these veterans. Today is a day to honor all the men and women who have served in the U.S. military. It is approximately 19 million U.S. veterans who are still with us today, and the millions who have preceded them since the American Revolution. Many serve their communities as first responders, teachers, healthcare workers, and church leaders. Some are business owners, farmers, company workers, or retirees. Veterans are a diverse group represented by men and women of every economic, ethnic, and religious background. They come from every state and every territory, but are bound by one common commitment: to defend America with their life if called upon. From fighting terrorism, defeating fascism, and liberating slaves, veterans have a record of remarkable accomplishment through our nation's history. Military service is never for the faint of heart. Most civilians' jobs do not require risk to life or limb. No other occupation subjects employees to criminal charges for disobeying their boss. Unlike members of the military, civilians can live where they want, and they can quit whenever they want. Transitional challenges, the stress of military life, and the feelings of isolation all factor into a suicide rate among veterans that is more than 50% higher than any other non-veteran adult. The stigma of seeing help needs to end. If we are going to stop suicide, it is crucial that we look at this issue much differently than prior generations. If we wait for someone to make an attempt before we reach out, there's a very good chance it will be too late. Veterans value courage, and it takes courage to ask for help. We must be proactive with them. Ask and encourage veterans to seek help before they pass a point of no return. The bonds that were formed in the military are unlike any other. A good American Legion post fosters an environment that helps continue such bonds and create new ones. Very few of us are trained counselors or mental health professionals, but we are capable of listening, referring, and following up with our veterans. The nation's crisis line still works, but now there's an even shorter number. It is 988, extension 1 for veterans. Most kindergartners know that what 911 is for. It is up to us to ensure that 988 becomes just as widely known. By calling 988 now, we can prevent a 911 call later. The American Legion Post also has a Be the One website at www.betheone.org. Visit it, learn from it, and spread the word about it. Homelessness is another tragic outcome that is too far often connected to military service. It is estimated that America has 60,000 veterans who are homeless. That is greater than the entire population of Carson City, Nevada. Through Veterans Compromise, approximately 7% of the U.S. population, they are 11% of our nation's homeless. The best way to prevent a veteran from becoming homeless is to hire one. It is not only good policy, but it is smart business for an employer who values skill, discipline, and patriotism. It is fitting that this Veterans Day be observed so close to Election Day. It is, after all, the veteran who preserved our constitutional rights for the past 246 years. For many of them, this nation was worth enduring long separations from their family, missing the births of their children, freezing in sub-zero temperatures, sweating in the Sahara, sacrificing their health, and far too often losing their lives. When a politician laments the cost of a Veterans Day program, it is up to us to remind them the cost of being a veteran. Whether it's exposure to burn pits or other toxins, many veterans today continue to pay a high price for their military service. It is up to us to ensure that they always have access to high-quality health insurance benefits, reflecting the thanks of this great nation. 104 years ago, on November 11th, 1918, the guns of the world fell silent. The armistice was signed, and the Great War was over. Unfortunately, World War I was not the war to end all wars, as many had hoped for. Veterans not only are responsible for defending the nation during wartime, but it is an imposing presence of our great military that has acted as a deterrent to our worldwide aggressors. The veterans of the United States military have not only fought wars, they deserve our gratitude for preserving them. And while today we rejoice and honor the service of Americans' veterans, we also remember the wise words of General Douglas E. MacArthur: "The soldier, above all others, prays for peace." God bless you all, and God bless America.
Thank you, Mayor. Now we will have the band play America the Beautiful.
Skies, for amber waves of If you know it, sing with us. The purple mountains, majesties, above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea. Oh, beautiful for patriot dreams that sees beyond the years. Thine alabaster cities gleam, undimmed by human tears. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with brotherhood, from sea to shining sea.
It is now my pleasure to introduce Ted Fink, who has been practicing law since 1977. He has a degree in business administration from the University of Cincinnati and received his law degree from Northern Kentucky University. He entered active duty as a judge advocate in the United States Air Force in 1979. Throughout his 25 years of dedicated public service, he provided legal advice to Air Force senior leadership. He has extensive litigation experience. Upon retirement from the Air Force, Ted returned to his hometown of Miamisburg, Ohio. He is licensed to practice before the Supreme Court of Ohio and Colorado, the United States Federal District Court, and the Court of Appeals for the Armed Forces. He is a member of the Ohio State Bar Association, Federal Bar Association, Air Force Association, Military Officers Association, Miamisburg Historical Society, and the Miamisburg Rotary Club. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our speaker, Colonel Ted Fink.
Well, thank you for that introduction. Commander Heinrich, members of American Legion Post 165, Mayor Collins, members of council, distinguished guests. Before I begin, there is one item of business that I'd like to take care of. It's football season. And I'm a member of the United States Air Force, and I know that there are many other brothers in arms who are members of other services, but I would be remiss if I did not recognize the cadets of the United States Air Force Academy who beat the cadets of West Point on Saturday to clinch the Commander-in-Chief's trophy. So hats off to the cadets from the Air Force Academy. It's an honor for me to speak to you at this ceremony in the town where I grew up to pay tribute to the men and women of the United States military, both past and present. Thank you for taking the time out of your day to honor our service members and our veterans. Although this is a national holiday, for many it's just another day, business as usual. So I truly appreciate that all of you have made the effort to come here today. My father-in-law served in World War I and World War II. He was a major in the Army Air Corps. My oldest son, Adam, is a lieutenant colonel in the United States Air Force. He's a C-17 pilot with the 445th Airlift Wing stationed at Wright-Patterson. My father was a businessman. He had no military service. And although he was supportive of me, I don't think he really understood why I made a career of the Air Force until he attended my promotion ceremony to colonel and realized that military service is being part of something bigger than yourself and your own personal gain. 3 days ago, many of us voted in the midterm election. If you listen to all the rhetoric between the candidates and the political pundits, you would think that we are a seriously divided country. It's true, we have our differences, but I'm an optimist. Maybe a little naive, but I don't believe the real mood of the country is as bad as the media would suggest. We're not perfect, but we live in the greatest country in the world. We have the right to vote freely for the candidate of our choice. We can freely express our views, worship God, and follow our own religious beliefs, and enjoy many of the other freedoms secured by the Bill of Rights. But those rights are not free. They come at a cost. So we come together to pay tribute to the men and women of the United States military and their families who pay that price for the many freedoms that we enjoy. Today, I'm one of many standing for people just like you in locations all over the country, speaking about the men and women who defend those freedoms, our veterans. It is a special day, one set aside to remind us of and to think about the sacrifice and the service of our veterans, men and women who have valiantly and selflessly devoted giving of themselves towards something greater than themselves, the United States of America. Indeed, this day helps us focus our attention on the key purpose of Veterans Day, a celebration to honor Americans' veterans for the patriotism, love of country, and willingness to serve and sacrifice for the common good. For 25 years, it was my honor and privilege to serve in the United States Air Force as a judge advocate, a JAG. Let me assure you that my career was nothing like that portrayed by the characters in the TV program JAG. Those sailors have a lot more exciting career than us airmen. But I spent a great deal of my career in the Air Force as a criminal trial attorney. I tried several cases, most of which I can't remember, but there was one case that still sticks with me, and I'd like to reflect on it and share it with you today because of the effect that it had on me. Richard Dienst was an airman stationed at Tan Son Nhut Air Base in Saigon. In 1982, he was picked up for a traffic violation in San Jacinto, California, and it was determined that he had deserted his post in Saigon in 1968. Court-martial charges were preferred against him, and I was appointed trial counsel, the military equivalent of a prosecutor. At his court-martial, he stated the reason he left his post was because he couldn't handle loading onto an airplane for return to the States the body bags with the remains of deceased military members killed in combat. So he left. Dienst was convicted, dishonorably discharged, and admonished. He received no jail time, no forfeiture of pay or allowances. The officers who heard Dienst's case took into consideration that he was now married and had a family. When the court members returned to the courtroom to announce their sentence, the president of the court, Lieutenant Colonel Howard Lacey, asked to be able to read in open court the admonishment that they had written. Although somewhat unusual, the military judge permitted the admonishment to be read in court. The admonishment said, "We admonish you to recognize that those in the body bags whom you loaded on the aircraft paid part of the price for the mercy that we are able to offer you. Remember, our freedom and justice require discipline, self-sacrifice, and for some, even their lives. Those words resonated with me back then and still do to this day, and I could not think of a more appropriate sentiment to express the true meaning of Veterans Day and the tribute we owe to the men and women who serve and sacrifice every day. Freedom and justice require discipline, self-service, self-sacrifice, and for some, even their lives. At a Veterans Day observance at the Tomb of the Unknown in Arlington National Cemetery in 1961, President John Kennedy said, "We celebrate this Veterans Day for a very few minutes, a few seconds of silence, and then this country's life goes on. But I think it most appropriate that we recall on this occasion and on every moment when we are faced with great responsibilities, the contributions and the sacrifices of our veterans, which so many military members and their families have made to permit this country to now occupy its present position of responsibility and freedom. I ask that your recognition today of the sacrifices made for all of us by the men and women who serve and who have served extend beyond the short time that we are gathered here today. I said earlier today, we come together to pay tribute to the men and women of the United States military and their families, who pay the price for the freedom that we enjoy. I have said to myself on several occasions, if I ever had the opportunity to speak at an observance for veterans, I was also going to ask that we pay tribute to and honor the family members who sacrifice. It's just as important, and in many cases is as great as that of the service member. On this day that we pay tribute to the veterans, it is also fitting that we pay tribute to their family members. They also sacrifice so much for our nation, mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, wives and husbands, sons and daughters. Think for a moment about the service member's family who must relocate every 2 or 3 years. The kids must change schools, make new friends, and in a couple of years move on to another location. The spouse, if she is working outside the home, must quit their job and try and find another. If the service member is deployed, the family must go for 6 to 12 months without that person present in the home. But we all know that there are even greater sacrifices families must make, families who live in this community. Rocky Zanawick was killed in Afghanistan on June 3rd, 2011. His parents, Paul and Nanette, must live with that loss every day, as does his wife and son and his sister. There are also family members who struggle trying to help their son or daughter, husband and wife, cope with the physical and psychological effects of war. When I told some friends of mine whose son had been deployed to Afghanistan and who has been struggling with several issues that I had the opportunity to speak today, they sent me an email. I want to share that email with you. Most people are aware of the issues that many veterans and active militaries returning from deployment face as a result of their experience. But what they don't know are the secondary effects on the families. Certainly physical injuries can be obvious, but what about the mental scars? They may exhibit uncontrollable anger, short temper, mood swings, withdrawal, sleep issues, not to mention possible alcohol and drug abuse. The family and friends don't know how to help, don't know what to do, be tolerant, be understanding, pray things will change eventually, pretend everything is fine, and so we live to fight another day. So on this day where we pay tribute to veterans and their families, I'd like to leave you with the words of Charles M. Provence, author, teacher, actor, veteran. It's the soldier, not the minister, who gives us freedom of religion. It's the soldier, not the reporter, who gives us freedom of press. It's the soldier, not the poet, who has given us freedom of speech. It's the soldier, not the lawyer, who gives us a right to a fair trial. It's the soldier, not the politician, who has given us the right to vote. And it's the soldier who salutes the flag, who serves beneath the flag, and whose coffin is draped by the flag, who allows the protester to burn the flag. Thank you all. May God bless you. May God bless the United States of America, which has always been the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Thank you, Colonel. Now the band will play Legend of the Eagle. If you allow me, I'm going to deviate from our program. You allow me a sidebar for just a couple of minutes. It is only fitting on this Veterans Day that we conclude with the celebration of one of our own who has been a very faithful and loyal veteran to not only our post at 165, but to our honor guard. We started last month celebrating at our 3rd District meeting, our Legion meeting, and then on October the 18th, we celebrated his 90th birthday. He has been our past commander 50 years ago, and he has also been a member at the post and with the honor guard for 60 years. Ladies and gentlemen, please let me introduce to you who all of you well, I'm sure know, Jerry McMurtry. Would you please stand up, Jerry? In our supply of reward pins to give to people who have served for many years. Unfortunately, for this gentleman, having served 60 years, we had to order it, and it just came in. So, Jerry, it is my pleasure to present you with a 60-year American Legion pin. Thank you for allowing me to do that. It is now my pleasure to introduce to you the chairman of the Veterans Committee and also a member of the Historical Society, our veteran, Randy Staley.
Thank you.
How we doing?
I'm doing fine. Good. Just like to thank the members of our committee and at least mentioned their names here. That Wayne Kern is the past commander. He's a member, a longtime original member of this group. John Heinrich, commander. Peggy Gross, Mark Colvin, Jim Caldwell, Tom Pompous, Dick Church, Don Lacey, Paul Zanowick, Nan Zanowick, Councilman Ryan Colvin, Anthony Covington, the Assistant City Manager, Tom Wood, Rachel Goforth from the Rec Department, kind of does all things for us and keeps the park nice and cleaned up over there. We're missing it today. The one thing that we do have is our military banners. There's 6 military banners that are flying in the park today. We will have these banners available through order through the Historical Society with a picture of yourself or a loved one to be placed there. The cost is $175 per sponsor for the banner. We go through the Historical Society. We'll do everything for you. We'll file for it. If you bring us a picture in, we will have the picture digitized and set up and send in for you. We'll do everything for you to get the banner done. The banners will be put up in the middle of May and then taken down after Veterans Day every year. The date for this year's Memorial Day, the final date, order date, I think, is March 1 of this year. That's to be put up for Memorial Day. The other thing I'd like to mention here, we have a database of all the veterans. If you're a veteran, we'll put your name, what your rank and military information in our database at the Historical Society. It's the only place that and we're one of the only communities that have a group, one place that you can go and see where the veterans served. If you're a member of the American Legion, they have the Legion members, and the VFW have the VFW members, but we have all the members. Anybody who honorably served in the military. We need to have that in there. The class of 64 went together last year after last year's Veterans Day, and they put a list of 17 of their deceased military veterans and just turned it in. So thank a lot of work for Billy Ring and Ayersman. Donnie Ayersman went together and put this together for us, but we'd like to have all the classes to do this if you can. They had a lot of work. Took them almost a year to get this done, but they did. Thank you for your support, and thank you, military veterans, and hopefully see you another year.
Our band will now play God Bless America. At this portion of the program, if we were at our Veterans Park, we would have the Honor Guard ready and prepared to do a rifle volley followed by taps. But due to the weather and thankful that we were able to come here to the church, we have elected only to do the taps today, and it will be performed now by our bugler from the Honor Guard, Alberta Duncan. Will all of you please stand, and those who are in uniform would like to salute. The rest of you would be kind enough to place your hand over your heart for playing of the taps. Two. We will now have our pipe major, Kevin Brown, playing Amazing Grace. We thank everybody for coming here today. We most of all want to thank the Trinity Church and the pastor for allowing us to have this facility as our backup due to the inclement weather. Today is Veterans Day, and I appreciate everybody coming to this service here in Miamisburg. God bless all of you for being here. God bless the veterans, and God bless America. At the end, we will now have the closing benediction by our chaplain. Uncover.
On this Veterans Day, we say, Dear God, we thank you for the freedom you have given us and for the price that was paid by Christ so that we all could live free. We remember today the cost of it all, the great sacrifice for freedom. Please be with the men and women in uniform who serve our communities and our nation every single day. We ask that you provide your protection, that you would be their guiding force who leads their way, and the rear guard who keeps them safe from behind. We ask that you would draw them to yourself amidst the dangers they face in this dark world of ours. For you are the truth, you are the way, you are the light. Amen. Hats on, cover on.
This concludes our service. Thank you for being here on Veterans Day.